Hi, this is GED teacher Damon Tennant, and in this video, I'm going to share with you a review of an RLA extended response writing sample. This sample was sent to me via email by one of my online GED students, and this is one of the things that I provide to people who are enrolled in my online course is that I actually review their writing. I do this for the short answer on the GED Science, and I also do this for the extended response on the RLA. Just a quick reminder for those of you who still may not know, the GED Social Studies no longer requires an extended response. So this is only writing for the science and the RLA. So this video is going to show just in a second, and what you're going to see me doing is making sure that this student addresses the 3 prompts. So in order to have a successful RLA extended response, you have got to address these 3 things. Number 1, you have to address the prompt. What does that mean? That means that you have to answer the question, okay? Number 2, you have to use evidence. Number 3, you have to use good grammar. And I don't talk about this as extensively in the video, but I'm going to say a little bit about it right now before I plug this video in for you to watch, is that don't try to write outside of your grammatical capability. What does that mean? If your writing is basic subject, verb, period, then keep it simple. Keep your writing to a level that you can control. If you are accustomed to using commas, if you are accustomed to using colons, dashes, if you know how to do those kinds of things, then do it. But if you don't, keep those things out and keep it simple. If you're really unsure about where commas go, don't mess around with it. Just write to your highest grammatical level that you can control and that you will know will be correct. So again, you're going to see me reviewing one of my online GED students' extended response samples. And so just enjoy. It is a longer video. It takes about 14 minutes for me to do. But again, this is a service that I provide at no additional charge for those who are in my online GED course. Enjoy. Okay, Tangela, here we are at the essay that you sent me. So let's go ahead and review it together. So here you say the second argument is stronger than the first argument because the internet use good, but it need restricted. In fact, one study found that the worker who could occasionally check the internet were happier at work than those who could not. The National University of Singapore found workers feel refreshed and more productive, not less. Second, other important thing of the internet is a communication tool. Like as a telephone, worker need to allow use phone in a short time. It's good for business because of all these very strong evidence in the second argument. However, it's stronger than the other argument. Okay, so far that is super duper solid. Now we come down here. According to a survey, obviously we have some grammar to do up here, but in terms of the concept, you really got it down. According to a survey by salary.com, at least 64% of employees nationwide use the internet for non-work related. However, the worker lose their attention for work. When staff members use their computer access offensive that can see other workers, this create a hostile workplace environment. The idea are not applied to every company. However, second argument is stronger than the other argument. I see what you're trying to do here, but this is where we're going to need to do some work. In conclusion, the second argument is stronger than the first argument, but I really like what you've done here. You've encapsulated addressing the prompt. You encapsulated drawing on evidence and then saying why. And so let's just go ahead and jump in. So let me jump in here. So you want to say the second argument is stronger than the first argument. You don't need a comma there because the internet use, let's say, is good, but it needs the S there, restriction, okay? Not restricted, restriction. Okay, extra period out of there. And then we're going to go into, because now you've addressed the prompt, so now we're just going to take that down to the first paragraph of your extended response. So in fact, need a space there, 2009 study found that workers who could occasionally check the internet were happier at work than those who could not, period. Great sentence. The National University of Singapore, no comment necessary there, found workers, so extra space there. I think there's an extra space up here too. Workers feel refreshed and more productive. Now you want to say comma, not less, and then that would take us to a lowercase n. Period. Now I need to get that space out of there for that period. Now we're going to come here to second. So now we're going to start in a new sentence. So of course that's capitalized. And then we're going to start a new paragraph there. Return. Get that space out of there. Second, other important thing of the internet is the communication. So instead of that, because that's not really so clear, so you're going to say second, the internet is an, whenever you're coming before a vowel, you're going to use the an. So second, you get a the in there. The internet is an important space communication tool. Get that extra space out of there. Tool as the telephone, period. Workers need to be allowed to use, instead of the phone for a short time, say need to be allowed to use communication as necessary, comma, even for a short time. And then go ahead and put a period there. And it's going to be capital because we're starting a new sentence. It's good for business. So, comma, because of these evidences are very strong, in the second argument, comma, it is better than the first one, period. So now we've cleaned it up a little bit, okay? And now we got to come down here to this last thing, because what you do here is you're trying to really compare the second argument being stronger than the first argument. So down here, you start talking about the first argument and why it is not strong, but because it's separate from these points here, it's not as clear. So let's take some what you've done here, which is some good things, and then put them back in here. So according to a survey by salary.com, at least 64% of employers nationwide use internet, and the worker loses their attention at work. So let's come over here, and I'm going to say select. And I'm going to cut that. So I'm going to then I'm going to put where we pasted. And I'm going to take this little piece, select, cut. The first article does argue that. Then I'm going to paste that there. That workers lose their attention for work. It cites a survey that says, comma, then I'm assuming this is a quote, so we say according to a survey by salary.com, get a little semicolon, get that out of there. At least 64% of employers nationwide use the internet for non-work related task, period. Comma. Okay, so you can say something like that there. So now that you've taken that piece that was down there, and now you've incorporated it, now it makes more sense, because now it's more of a comparison between the second argument and the first argument. So then you say the computer workers need to be allowed to use their communication necessary for even for a short time. It's good for business. So because it's better than the first one. And then we can come up here and say, although the first article says staff members might use their computer to access offensive, say, content, and this might create, you already have that there, a hostile workplace environment. This is not guaranteed to happen. I'm just putting that in there just to make it flow better. Period. Then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all that. So again, here what I'm doing is just taking what you've written, dusting it up, dusting it off a little bit, and then your final thing here in conclusion, the second argument is stronger than the first argument. And then there you have a much cleaner writing. But I want to point out that you did an excellent job setting this up. So again, I think the last thing you need to really focus on is the whole idea of when you're saying one argument is stronger than the other, they go in the same paragraph. This says this is stronger than this, and why? Because this might be true. However, it's more important to have a happy workplace. So that's your piece in it after pulling those quotes. And I put this in quotation mark here, and I don't know which others of this is needs to be in quotation marks, but you'll have to make sure to put quotation marks when you're quoting word for word from the text. And then just one other, get rid of those extra spaces there. Okay. And now you have a clean essay. So I hope that helps. I will go ahead and write one more. And then the next step from here is that we're going to have you go ahead and take the official GED practice test for the RLA and see how you do now that you've done all of this great work. You really have turned this around 100% stronger. And I think you're going to be ready. Remember, the key thing is it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough to get you some points so it doesn't hurt you. Thank you.